Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Rohit Paradkar. We are at the White Run. And you know what? We might just enter an argument if I tell you what almost sounds like a white truth, that Hero can't really do the premium segment all that well. Because you see, apart from the Charisma, the 223, that one that was launched in 2003, they haven't really delivered on a convincing enough premium product. Of course, there have been a few blips on the radar, the Charisma ZMR or the Eric Buell partnership or rumors of the X-Pulse 400, but none of it really mattered, did it? And then the Charisma XMR 210 happened, which almost had most of us convinced that Hero will never be able to break that 200 mold. But then, this happened. This is the Mavrick 440. And if you are a Hero nerd, you would recognize it as their spin on the Harley-Davidson X440. But here's the kicker. This motorcycle and the 440 platform have been cooking for over 3 years now, long before the Hero-Harley partnership even brewed. The X440, however, hit the market first to dip its toes in the testing waters. But don't think of this to be what the Slavia is to the Virtus. Think of it to be what the Kodiaq is to the Passat. It belongs to a more relevant segment, a street naked instead of a cruiser. It is also significantly cheaper, significantly because Harley-Davidson commands a bigger brand value. But I also feel that the X440 is diluting that very brand value for Harley-Davidson, whereas on the other hand, the Mavrick will up the brand value, the premium quotient for Hero. Hence, you will notice the premium touches as well. LED lighting all around, a striking headlamp housing, sleek tank shrouds, and a premium machine finish for the wheels, mirrors, and engine cases. Even under the seat, the components are neatly tucked away, but requiring an Allen key for accessing the battery or the electrical connections for those add-ons. Speaking of which, there's a slew of accessories available at launch, including luggage options and fog lamps, leaving a favorable initial impression. Although I must say, the exhaust could have been more aesthetically pleasing, but it might just grow on me. The stock headlights on the motorcycle are actually quite good. Take a look. So that's the headlamp on. Low beam, high beam. The Camel is called the ship of the desert, and when it comes to touring, for some reason the Royal Enfields are the most reliable ship that people really believe on. And they have upped their quality, their reliability in all these years. And from that perspective, some of the materials here, maybe the plastic parts, the switchgear, etc., the quality doesn't feel as good as what we've seen on the newer Royal Enfield 350s. However, that said, it's definitely the most premium quality that we've seen from Hero so far. Weighing in at a little under 190 kilos, the Mavrick is among the heftier motorcycles out there. However, it maneuvers with surprising ease, feeling light and agile, almost like a commuter bike in motion. Now, between the legs, the tank is not going to feel too big. It doesn't really have that big bike feel, honestly speaking, but it's not too small either. It doesn't feel too compact like a commuter. What I also like is the design of the tank. You can very nicely lock your knees into these recesses, so whether you're braking or while cornering, you get a nice grip on the tank. It adds the sense of security. Although the pegs sit slightly rearward compared to the Harley-Davidson, they are mid-mounted enough for standing while navigating rough terrain. However, standing off-road could feel cumbersome, and gripping this bulbous tank isn't a breeze. Now, the riding posture, or the triangle created by the knee, is not too aggressive and it's not too relaxed. I quite like it. It is comfortable for highway cruisers or even for city commutes, and when you are riding around twisties, it can also make for some sporty riding posture. So the beauty of this engine is that it doesn't feel as peaky as something like the Speed 400 or even the KTM 390 Adventure. At the same time, it's not as laid back as something like the 350s from Royal Enfield, the Classic or the Hunter. That said, it's not as rev happy as something like what we've seen with the Java. So what you get is an engine that has a very unique character. Pulling overtakes feels very easy. It is quite brisk. Even at highway speeds, you can pull overtakes quite nicely. And speaking of highway speeds, triple digit speeds, 110, 120 kilometers an hour, feels effortless. So even in terms of the cruising ability of the motorcycle, it's actually quite nice.
The single-cylinder engine is remarkably smooth, with only minimal vibrations at higher speeds. Comfortably cruising at 120 kilometers an hour or trotting along at 40 kilometers an hour in fourth gear is a breeze, and that makes it an ideal tourer or commuter. The RE350s feel equally good, if not better, in the city, but can't quite match the highway cruising manners of the Mavrick. Hero's version of the long stroke configuration shines here, also offering a characterful thump in the low end, a feature which is now missing in most new Enfields.
Sounds pretty good, not just at standstill, but also when it's riding around. In fact, what I like is that instead of only focusing on delivering a better sound profile than its competition, Hero's also worked on delivering better torque. Now, it's a little bit down on torque compared to the Harley-Davidson X440. This delivers 36 Newton meters, but at the same 4,000 RPM or thereabouts. And that's actually better than the competition. And it's not just on paper, because you can also feel it out on the road.
While it may not sprint off the line like a Triumph Speed 400 or the less powerful Honda CB300R, its mid-range power and comfortable riding posture make it a formidable touring machine compared to the motorcycle it so closely resembles. I wish the rev limiter wouldn't kick in as aggressively though. We saw a top speed of 135 kilometers an hour, but I'm estimating an 8 to 10% speedo error. Take a quick look at the 0 to 100 run.
The Harley-Davidson X440 gets upside down, folks. This one doesn't. But honestly, if it's going to save me 40,000 rupees, I wouldn't really complain, because you see the suspension actually doesn't leave too much room to complain about. The suspension travel is exactly the same, 130 millimeters, though I would have expected slightly better given this is a street naked and that is a cruiser. But at the same time, these 43 millimeter forks, they work quite well. It doesn't feel overly heavy, overly light. On undulations, potholes, etc., it works brilliantly well. Now, where we have been riding all day, the roads have been really good, almost as good as Rajasthan. But yeah, we did encounter a few patches where there were a few potholes or some surprising undulations in the middle of the road, etc. And it took that very well. Be it city speeds, be it highway speeds, all of that was really good. So the suspension compliance is actually quite good. And if you were to take it to winding roads, it won't disappoint there either. The front end feel is actually quite nice.
The Mavrick doesn't dart into corners like its Triumph or KTM counterparts. However, its linear handling traits are sure to impress touring enthusiasts.
It's not going to be the sharpest handling motorcycle in the category. There are other motorcycles. Even the Honda CB300R is excellent compared to this. But I quite like the way it handles. In fact, the footpeg geometry is pretty relaxed. But you're going to be exploiting that cornering clearance quite often when you hit some really nice, fast switchbacks.
The brakes have a progressive feel, but I would have liked even better bite from them, especially when carrying a pillion and luggage.
Now, even the rear suspension is different compared to what you get on the Harley-Davidson X440. But in terms of the preload adjustability, it is one of the best in the segment. They are offering the highest level of customizability for the rear preload compared to any of the competition. So when you are touring with pillion plus luggage, etc., it is definitely going to come in handy. Setting the sag, setting the preload for all of this is going to be much easier.
From top to bottom, front to rear, the Mavrick feels meticulously crafted, leaving little room for complaint. Despite its price-conscious build, it exudes a premium aura, which until now was missing on any of the Hero machines. This reflects an earnest effort behind its creation. Whether upgrading from a smaller bike or seeking an easygoing tourer, the Mavrick emerges as a compelling choice. And among the three variants, the mid-tier option, particularly in the red or the blue, exudes the most appeal.
Now, if I were to sum it up, it really has me excited, as are most of you, that the pricing for this thing is really good. And the way Hero has delivered this particular product, I think that pricing is really, really good because mechanically this motorcycle is very sound. But at the same time, that 1.99 lakh rupee ex-showroom pricing, at least at the time of recording this video, is for the base variant. And as you start climbing up the ladder, if you were to reach somewhere here, this kind of motorcycle where you get the alloy wheels, the eSIM connected features, the 3D tank emblem, and the tubeless tires, of course. For these few bits, you are going to be spending a lot of money because the top-end variant is now entering the Triumph Speed 400 category. And honestly, that engine, that motorcycle is a lot sprightlier than what this machine has to offer. And I think that is going to be the biggest challenge for Mavrick. The challenge is not going to come from Harley-Davidson. The challenge is not to really take customers away from the X440. It's the Triumph twins that they have to beat. And that is going to be a very upheaval task. So once again, will Hero have it very tough breaking into that premium segment? Well, it is very likely. But this time around, the premium product that they've delivered is really very convincing. So if you don't like the Triumphs for whatever reason, the Mavrick could actually be one that you need to consider over anything else in the market at the moment.